Hey everyone, Mike Palmer from Know Your Rights Group and Success Coaching International with another very important live video update tonight. So tonight I want to speak about this increasing push to vaccinate everybody against this COVID-19 virus. Because right now, like the whole of the COVID pandemic, things are escalating frighteningly quickly. Okay, things are happening very, very fast. Now, when vaccines were first being discussed, a few months back, Prime Minister Scott Morrison came out and said that he was going to make, he wasn't going to make vaccines mandatory, he was going to make them as mandatory as possible. But he did acknowledge that people had the right to refuse them. So what we're seeing now in preparation for next year is this huge push by the media and also now by large corporations such as Qantas and Ticketmaster to start brainwashing and conditioning people into accepting the vaccine and trying to make it as normal as possible and really starting to generate this mandatory as possible scenario. Now, most of you who are watching this from Victoria will quite obviously understand the power of peer group pressure and being made to feel like an outcast if you dare to walk around, or God forbid you walk into a shop or a business without one of these pathetic paper masks. And that's the exact same principle that they're going to rely on when it comes to these COVID vaccines. They're going to make anyone who refuses to get one feel like an outcast. Now, we've already seen this happen with Alan Joyce's statement when he said that Qantas are stopping anti-vaxxers from flying. Now, I've had this argument with numerous people before, but it's very simple, okay? If you're anti-something, then you don't do it at all. Okay, if you're anti-smoking, you don't just have a cigarette here or there or hang out with smokers, you don't do it at all. If you're anti-drugs, you don't do drugs at all, you don't hang out with people who do drugs. So if you're anti-vax, then you don't have any vaccines at all, you get into arguments with other people that do have vaccines. That's the kind of person who is an anti-vaxxer. But as I explained on Tuesday night's radio show, okay, I personally know a number of people that have had vaccinations themselves, they vaccinated their kids, and they generally believe that there are benefits to vaccines in this day and age. But those very same people who would, by most others, be considered to be pro-vaxxers have said to me that it is, in their opinion, way too dangerous and also entirely unnecessary to be considering getting this COVID vaccine certainly as early as next year. Now, let's not forget, okay, the so-called virus has a 99+% recovery rate, and that's only if you get it, and 99% of people will never actually get it, and that's without a vaccine. Right now, right here and now. So why are we even considering forcibly vaccinating or even encouraging healthy people to get vaccinated? Okay, one of the primary arguments from what I can gather seems to be that it's to protect the elderly and the vulnerable because they're more susceptible to either catching it or having complications from it. Now, before anyone jumps onto this post and puts some comment that the whole COVID thing's a scam and there's nothing to catch, I'm not talking about, I'm just simply repeating the arguments that the media are shoving down people's throats every day just to explain it to people. Now, here's the thing though, if the vaccine works and it's going to be 90% effective, which is what they keep claiming, okay, then why do we need to vaccinate completely healthy people to supposedly save the elderly and the vulnerable if they're going to get vaccinated and their vaccine works? It just doesn't make any sense. Okay, now yes, absolutely. I hear it going around. There are arguments that things like polio and measles have been eradicated due to vaccines. Now, there's also arguments that they've been eradicated for other reasons, such as hygiene and a number of other factors, but I'm not going to talk about that tonight. The difference is that if you've got polio or measles, it created some very serious concerns for whoever got it. But that does not apply to most people who get COVID. I mean, for crying out loud, you've got each state premier getting onto the media, on a daily basis saying, please, as soon as you show just the slightest signs of any symptoms, rush off and get tested. Okay? I mean, did the people who suffered from polio or measles or the Black Plague or the Spanish flu, did they rush off to get tested to find out if they had these things? No, they were falling down dead in the streets. Okay? So again, I'm asking anyone out there that can give me an answer here. Why do we have to vaccinate the entire population of more or less, okay, I'll say it in inverted commas, healthy people against a virus that has a 99% recovery rate? And let's also not forget that there's basically 0 cases in most states now. And the only way you can tell if you've got this deadly disease, okay, is if you actually go and get tested for it. I mean, seriously, how stupid are people in this country? Yes, that's a rhetorical question. Okay? Now, I'm asking you all to please share this video far and wide around with everybody, whether they're anti-vax, pro-vax, or undecided, whatever. Because I'm hopeful that after seeing these simple points outlaid like this, that even the most staunch pro-vax people will at least start to question why there is this need for this COVID vaccine, especially as early as next year. And of course, once people start questioning that, then they can actually start looking into some of the stuff behind the scenes. Most importantly, how much money is there to be made for the organisations that come up with a successful vaccine? Now, mind you, I don't know how they define successful, okay, because it is physically impossible with the timeframes that they're talking about to conduct any kind of long-term safety studies. It simply can't be done. But I'm going to leave that aside for the moment. But the point is, there's a hell of a lot of money to be made for the organisation that brings this to market first. And therefore, there's an endless, like we're talking millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, potentially even billions of reasons to fudge figures, to falsify data, okay, to lie about tests and all the rest of it. Okay, just to be the first to get this to market and sell it to the government. So my question to you is this: are you really honestly willing to put your health and the health of your family at risk by getting an essentially untested, untrialed, certainly in the long term, okay, vaccine from a company that has huge profits at stake and every reason under the sun to falsify data and test results and the like? Okay, I certainly hope not. And if that's the case, then I urge you all to start sending off amended copies of the My Will letter that you can find here in the mandatory vaccinations chapter of our book. Okay, this has been extremely powerful. A lot of people have been sending this out. There's a link in the description to how to get this book. And I'm urging everyone to send this off to your local MPs, your state MPs, your federal MPs, and make it clear that you do not consent to them even putting forward any legislation, let alone enacting any legislation, but even putting it forward in Parliament, legislation that would infringe upon your human rights to informed consent. Very important phrase. Again, all the case precedent around that is covered in that book. Okay? Also infringing on your God-given rights to travel freely around the country. They can't dictate that because you have or haven't had, okay, some untested, unrequired vaccine. I mean, let's not again forget that this so-called virus has not to date even been isolated. So how are they coming up with a vaccine in such short time for something that hasn't even been formally isolated? Okay, please get onto this and write those letters. And then once you've done that, I would urge you all to write into these other people, other organisations, you know, Alan Joyce at Qantas, write into companies like Ticketmaster. And if those of you who haven't heard, Ticketmaster are now saying that they don't want to allow people to attend concerts unless they can show their COVID vaccination. All right? So, you need to write to these people and make your thoughts well and truly clearly known. Okay? Remember, these corporations care about one thing and one thing only: profit. That's it. That is their number one focus. Okay, so if you make it clear that they're going to lose money, okay, they're not going to make any profit if they insist on, continuing with these draconian measures, then they might start to rethink their policies a little bit. Okay, and the same applies to businesses, because I get emails and comments from people go, oh, I walked into this business and they didn't let me do this, or they forced me to do this, or whatever. And look, it's absolutely the same thing applies. Okay, businesses that have unnecessary, frustrating requirements, in order for you to enter their premises or do business with them. Like you've got to scan the QR code, or hand over a host of details to them. Okay, just say no. Absolutely, businesses can most assuredly create their own set of rules for entry. Okay, but the more people that object to those rules, okay, anything other than just basic hand washing and social distancing, because after all, isn't that what our government tells us works? Cleaning our hands and socially distancing. So if these companies want us to do anything more than just have clean hands and socially distance, just walk away and urge others to walk away. And the quicker people stop interacting with these businesses and stop doing business with them, the quicker they will get the message to stop harassing people. Okay? The minute you stop telling them they're going to get their money, they're going to go, well, we're in here to, we're in business to make money. If we're not making money, we've got to change things. Now, speaking of harassing people, it appears as though at least a certain number of people that watch these live video updates do not listen to our live Tuesday evening radio shows. And for those of you wondering, yes, I will upload this week's show. I've just run out of time this week, but it will be uploaded later on tonight. So I'm going to repeat it for the benefit of anyone that's missed those shows. First and foremost, we are simply not in a position to answer every email we receive. Okay, if it's a general question or a quick question, okay, we'll whip you up an answer. Otherwise, we'll leave it and we'll read it out on one of our Tuesday night shows and we'll answer it there. But if it's a more specific or more detailed question, then you need to book a one-on-one coaching session, and you can do that via the links up on the top left of our shop page. Okay, again, with all due respect, we are not your free on-call lawyers. Absolutely, we're here to help. We're here to help you, but we need to look after ourselves and our own sanity as well. Okay, now also please, we cannot and do not respond to Facebook Messenger posts. Okay, we just don't use Facebook Messenger. We have a couple of Facebook admin people, but they're there just for the posts. They don't deal with Messenger. So again, if you have a question, don't post on a Messenger. We won't see it. Send it to us via email. And yes, there's a little email link up in the top right-hand corner of our website. Just go to knowyourrightsgroup.com.au and you'll find it. But again, we're not there to answer all your emails. If it's simple, we'll whip back a response. If it's a general one, we'll answer it on the Tuesday night show. If it's more detailed, again, please book a one-on-one session. Now, thankfully for all those people out there who've been saying wonderful words of support and saying what a great job that we're doing and that we should be taking a break, I'm very happy to announce that that is exactly what we're doing. I'm going to be taking the next 4 weekends off completely and spending time with some family and friends. So I will only be checking those emails from Monday to Friday. So please be aware that there may be a little bit of an extended backlog as a result of that change. But again, I think hopefully most of you would agree that we have gone above and beyond, especially over the last 6 months with all of the weekly radio shows, the twice weekly video updates that we do. I've been doing everything in my power to help others and let others get some semblance of a life back, and now I need to do that too, and I wouldn't be much of a success coach if I didn't. So hopefully you can all appreciate that. So I'm going to leave it there for tonight. As always, I do urge everyone to please get informed, get fired up, and get proactive. Of course, the best way to do that is with all the information. And again, there's plenty of free information. You don't need to pay anything on the websites that are linked in the description. If you want to go above and beyond, please grab the Know Your Rights book, the essential step-by-step manual for understanding and exercising your rights. Grab the Aussie Speeding Fines book, which is perfect for any and all types of fines. A lot of people have been successfully adapting their strategy to these COVID fines. And again, we know a lot of people have been struggling financially. So if you have any unsecured loans, personal loans, credit card debts, grab the Bank Secrets book. You can buy these all individually. You can buy them in a combo pack. And of course, with the combo pack, you do get our fantastic new Know Your Rights tote bag to wander around the shops with and spread the message. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, and I'll speak to you all live again next Thursday evening. Thanks, everyone.